Hello. So I got a good response from the video I did in this group the other day, so I figured I would do another live and just try and connect some dots for people. If you have any questions that I don't cover, or any topics or anything of your concern, anything that you would like me to address or even discuss just with you, you can message me. I do one-on-one videos, I do one-on-one messages. It's, no problem at all. But what this is going to be is a psychedelic talk. I'm going to talk about immortality. I'm going to talk about the third eye. And I'm going to talk about what I mean when I say that all the words that we use are empty. Okay? And I know a lot of people get confused when I say words are empty. The words that we use and that we speak are all empty. And I say, we have never in fact seen the words that we speak with our mouth with these two eyes. And that is why words change as we change. That is why every single person has a different definition or a different absolute for each word. So if you ask 1,000,000 people what God is, you're going to get 1,000,000 different definitions, ultimately revealing to you that all words are empty. Something within us is filling these words, is putting a definition, a shape, a form, an object into the word. And it's the same with ego. Ego is no different. So what do I mean by words are empty? When you look at the world around you, everything is a noun. Everything is a person, place, or a thing. However, everything has been proven to be 99.99% empty space, which is 100% empty space. 99.99% is just a nice way of saying that there is no physical reality. But they won't come out and say that because they don't want people to panic. There is no physical reality, which means you are no place. Which means that NASA is the safekeeper to the fact that we are no place. NASA does not hide a shape to our Earth. NASA hides the fact that the Earth is inside of you. That's what they hide. The shape is irrelevant because, again, all words we use are empty. So if everything is a person, place, or a thing, a noun, we have to ask ourselves, when we birth and we die, if we exist as these words, where are these words going? Where do these words take place and die through? If I am existing as the ego, as Tyler, as the body, as being 5'11", and all the descriptions that fit this body, then I've fallen into the word. I have decorated myself with words to hide the absolute self. So when I die, what will leave me? What will die? It's the words that we exist through. This is what we are beyond the mind, beyond the physical, what you can see. This is your nervous system and your brain. This is where all words exist, right here. And this is what it means when they say atoms are 100% empty space. I won't even say 99.999%. It's pointless. Atoms are 100% empty space. So when you find that out, you have to start asking, if atoms are empty, then where is the physical reality? We keep talking of a physical reality and we're trying to find the base reality, but that's just it. The reality and the dream are one and the same. The black man and the white man are one and the same, but we are asleep. And we are asleep as this ego we call a human being. And do you want to know what the Big Bang Theory does? The Big Bang Theory is our attempt as finite beings, as human mortal beings. The Big Bang is our attempt to put a starting point to what created the human being. We're still looking for the start. What created the human being? And so you know what the white person says? The white person says, we came first. The white man was the first person. But you know what the black person says? We came first. The black man was the first person. And so do you know what each race does? The white man says God is in the image of us, the white man. And the black says, no, God is in the image of us, the black man. But we don't break through as a human race until we realize there is no black man and there is no white man. There is no human being, period. This is why the Big Bang Theory keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back to a further date. We keep attempting to try and locate our starting point, but do you know what's going to happen? The Ouroboros. I tell everybody, pay attention to what we are doing with AI and artificial intelligence, and the immediate response that I get from people, and I understand the response, so I'm not blaming you. I understand the response, the mindset, but the response that I get in accordance to AI is not organic. It does not have a spirit. It is not the same as me. It's no different than the video games. Back in the 90s, when you had Nintendo and Sega Genesis, right? The graphics were horrible. The graphics were terrible. You could look at the TV and then look at reality, and you could tell the difference between a 1990s video game and what we call reality. But today, what has happened? We have merged into the video game. We can put a headset on and be in a completely different world, a completely different setting. So what video games are proving to us is we are already in the game. And what artificial intelligence is going to do to us is prove you are already the machine. If you've ever seen this part of your bone structure without the skin, each finger that moves is a line. It's controlled by a wired line, if you've ever seen. You are the AI, but you are so intelligently designed. But we don't believe we have that capability. We still have not caught up to ourselves as the creator. And so we are looking for our starting point, the Big Bang Theory, and we're going to keep pushing that date back and back and back. And the riots will continue. The white versus the black versus the white. The greatest secret of the yin-yang was that they were one and the same. They were not two. And that is when the white and the black will break through as a whole. When they realize they are looking at themselves. There is not two. And yes, we can look at the shades of color and say they're obviously different. So this is white and this is black. But before you assign white and black definition, form, color, it simply is the purest expression of what we call God. It is energy in motion. It is God itself. But when you call reality, reality, do you know what this becomes? This becomes boring, ordinary. We're missing the whole beauty and the whole dream. We're missing God itself. And this is the greatest thing. Would you recognize the alien if you were visited tomorrow by an alien? And the answer is no. Because you can wake up and look at God every day in the mirror and you still don't recognize God. You still don't see God. And you don't just see God in the mirror. God is the entire thing. All energy and motion. There is only one presence here. And that is when we break through as a human species. We are still under the impression that there are many when there is only one. And that is what our ancestors knew, and that is what our ancestors tried teaching before they passed on. Was that they were not actually going anywhere. They are here now through us because there is only one presence here. And that presence is with you at all times. When you are awake, traveling through your day, the presence is with you. And when you go to sleep, whether you remember your dream or not, you are that presence. It is that presence that returns you to what you call the body. returns you to what you call reality. But reality and dream are the very same presence, the very one itself. And it's the same with all duality which takes place in the mind. The only reason duality exists is because you have three eyes. You are that powerful, and you have three eyes to see, or two to see and one to look. That is why we do not recognize God. That is why we do not know where we are and where we are going. The average person rushes through their day, rushes to get to work, rushes to get home, rushes to from place to place, when deep down, they don't even know where they're going. And I don't mean that in a simple form. You're driving from work to home and home to work. Not in that sense of you don't know where you're going. On a spiritual sense, you don't even know where you're going as the final destination. And yet you're rushing from place to place to be the first one and to be the first in line and taking it so serious. But where are you actually going? God is not white nor black. God is not this nor that. There is no word to God because God is the presence which speaks word. Before any word was spoken, this was God. If you're familiar with the creation story, the creation of Adam, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word itself was God. And do you know where the Word exists right here? Right in that brain. That's where every single word you've ever spoken exists, including the most sacred kept one. Do you know what that is? That's your identity. And that's what you'll come to find. If you've done psychedelics and you've experienced an ego death, you don't die because you reported the death of what you thought to be yourself. What dies is every word you've ever spoken. What becomes seen through is every word that you have projected through these two eyes from the mind. The entire cosmos sits right behind your two eyes. But we don't recognize because we are under the human dream. I totally understand and sympathize because I've gotten a lot of angry messages and comments about me talking about artificial intelligence and telling people not to worry. I understand all the concern. I understand all the fear that comes with it. It's a big step. I totally get it. Trust me. But this is the big shift everybody is awaiting. I promise you. We're holding on to the ego a little longer by saying, no, artificial intelligence doesn't have a spirit like me. Artificial intelligence doesn't have blood like me, doesn't have kidneys like me. Remember my reference to video games. Video games in the 1980s were crap. You could look at it and tell that is nothing like this reality, this picture. But you fast forward 20 years and we can duplicate this picture. We can replicate this very picture in a game. What does that tell you? Because when we catch up to ourselves, it's the Ouroboros, biting its own tail, devouring itself, to realize you are the self, but not the separate self which dies, the separate self which branched off from the pure self. The pure self is immortality, but you must experience the death of what you think to be yourself to get this elixir. to get to this immortality. And that's what's keeping us from letting go, is fear. However, everything you most seek is just behind your greatest fear. And this goes right back to the duality. Why do you think there is a God and a devil? Because your greatest fear is your greatest power, is you without any control, without any measure, without anything at all. Your biggest fear is being more powerful than your own comprehension. Your greatest fear is being what you think to be God, the Almighty, the powerful. And that's why we have created a deity to represent this for us, because we have convinced ourselves we are not that. Because we fear ourselves as this power. And that's where the devil comes in. Because the devil keeps you in accordance to religion, submitting to this power, that you are not that power. The devil keeps you in obedience with religion, but the conspiracy is not with you and God. The conspiracy is not with you and the world. The conspiracy is with you and yourself. And the final frontier is within you. So many of us are joining Facebook groups and joining social medias to find people alike and find groups and find people, because we're awaiting this event, and we don't want to be alone for this event. We want everyone to see it too. We want this to be a collective event. But if you've ever heard the term, the revolution will not be televised. A revolution is an overthrowing of a system. But why do you think corrupt governments keep endlessly getting overthrown just to reset again? The system is not outside of you. It is inside your brain. That is why they use a two-party system, because your brain has two sides. So if you choose a Democrat or you choose Republican, you have put one side of your hemisphere against the other. You are at war with yourself. Straight up. So if you're voting for politics and you're voting for this, you're voting to simply not know yourself. That is a revolution. It is not televised because it takes you knowing yourself. There is no revolution that will ever show up on TV telling you the corruption, the evil, this, that, whatever you're waiting for. It will not show up on that TV because it's not televised. It happens within you. Lose the crowds, lose the groups, lose Facebook, lose the social medias. That is when your breakthrough will happen. The event is not outside of you. There won't come a day where, as on a massive scale, every single person agrees to one thing. It'll never happen. And that's what most of us are waiting for, is harmony, love, heaven on earth. That's ego's expectation. That's ego telling you heaven is not already here. Ego is trying to create what already is. And that's why ego has such a difficult time. It's so straining on the ego trying to change the world. But that's why they have you focus so much on the external. They have you rioting in the streets, fighting your mirror, thinking a change is going to happen, when the change happens within you. The revolution happens within you. The shift happens within you. There is no event that will ever happen outside of you. All these words that we put events to, they replicate the internal event that people have experienced from within them. So if you hear about the shift is happening, it's not happening collectively. It's not happening outside of you. If somebody says a shift is happening, no, it's happening to that person, individually, to them. And that's spirituality. Spirituality is a lonely business. That's what it leads you into oneness. However, the mind, the ego, assigns a quantity to oneness. And so it feels lonely, alone. But the words are empty. So one doesn't mean one at all. One is no quantity. No word exists. Every word is made up. So we sit here and torment ourselves with the mind's thoughts, with a bunch of compiled words that are made up, illusory. They're empty. The only thing putting anything into the words we use is the mind itself. That is how powerful you are as this form. That is exactly how powerful you are. All words that we know and believe in exist right here. There is no person, there is no place, and there is no thing. Every person, every place, and everything is the mind itself. So let me get a little deeper. For the open-minded people here, I'm going to get a little deeper on you. How do you know 100%, and how can you prove to me you are in some place? I'm not telling you to just tell me, feel your pulse and say, well, I'm here, I'm in the place, I'm in this place. Prove to me that this right here is a place. Prove it to me. Show me. Because it cannot be done. This is the same thing that Alan Watts talked about when somebody came to him and said, you know, my mind is disturbing me. I want to silence the mind. Alan Watts says, well, bring forth this thing you call the mind and I'll silence it for you. Bring it forth. If you can find it and show me it, I'll silence it for you. And when they go to look for it, they can't find it because, again, it's illusory. But we identify, we attach to mind. Why? It's natural because ego has been established through mind. Ego exists through the words of mind. And so without the words, we don't know what we would look like. We don't know who we are. And that's why when people ask us who we are, the first thing we can think of is our names, our description, our form. Because who are you if you can't use a word? There is no word to who you are. And that is the great revolution which happens within you. When you finally answer the question of who am I, without a spoken answer, you have broken through, my friend. Because there is no word for the absolute. The words we use are for communication, to speak. But this is not how we learn. We learn by teaching that the object is the word itself. And so what have we done? Because it says it in the Bible. You have fallen from heaven into the word. That's what man is. Man is split from God, but remember, these characters exist in the dual brain. So man is God and God is man. They just don't know it yet. And the greatest catch is they will never meet. Because if they were to meet, there'd have to be two. They'll never meet. That's the greatest trick. They never meet face to face because there is not two. That is the great breakthrough. When you sit in the void and you wait and wait and wait, and it finally breaks through to you that, holy crap, this is me. You don't come face to face with God or whatever you think it is. No, the breakthrough happens when you realize who you are without using words, without using mind. And that's how you find out and discover this eternal flame which forever burns. The presence, in other words, the presence which opens my eyes every morning is the very same presence which opens your eyes. So, if I were to die tomorrow, Tyler, all the words that I exist as, die tomorrow. Tyler would die tomorrow, but not really, because somebody else would just be named Tyler, but this Tyler would die. And all the words that I exist through, all the descriptions of me, my job, my family, all the descriptions that I exist through as words would dissolve to silence. Now, this doesn't mean that your family doesn't exist and your loved ones aren't real. They're absolutely real. They're here to show you what you are. You ever heard the term love is the answer? I tell people all the time, if you think, and this may help you let go of the ego a little bit, but if you think, you love your ego this much and you're that afraid to die to lose because you'll lose it, think of the love of what you're calling God. Think of the love it has for itself. Love is the answer. It's not a dirty trick or some dirty game. Love is the answer. That's why you have family. That's why we're here. You, or it, loves itself so much. This is how we experience. But the problem is we fall too much into a dream and begin trying to overtake this experience and begin trying to control it, which was never your job, was never your purpose here. But the more you dream, the deeper you dream, the more control you seek, the more you will fight. And that's why I tell people, listen, we have to have compassion for each other. Don't be upset at these people rioting. Don't be upset with them. And I know that sounds absurd, but have a heart. Where is the love? Let me ask this. Do you think people would be out there rioting if they knew they fought themselves, if they knew better? Most likely not, right? So all of us are trying the best we can, right? And we can only experience through our own level of awareness. So understand, not everybody is in the same level of awareness as you, or maybe even has the capacity to analyze and self-analyze and try and change and grow. Not everybody wants that. Not everybody has the capacity. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I'm just saying, let's have patience, have compassion, have a heart. Just realize you never know what someone's going through. If somebody's rude with you, if someone's aggressive with you, have patience. Stop and think. The punishment and the anger is not with you, it's with them. They're already upset. They're already angry. Therefore, they're punishing themselves enough, right? They don't need you to come and yell at them or to add fuel to their fire, right? Because that's not how you change. Fire with fire just creates more hate. And I understand you want to stand up for yourself because that's what we're here for. The ego gets hurt, we got to stick up for ourselves. There's no way I'm going to allow that, right? But again, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Life is short. Life is very short. And we're here to enjoy. But we're here to love each other and hold space and have compassion for each other. And listen, not everybody, we all have our good days and our bad days. So some days when you're bad, somebody's going to have to be good for you. And, same vice versa. But I'm just going to kind of reiterate here, and I'm going to end this video. I hope this video has helped anybody, at least one person. I hope this has made a connection within you that sparks, your next step. So when I talk about words being empty, this is exactly what the Matrix refers to when the spoon boy says, do not try and bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, only try and realize the truth. There is no spoon. Now let me word this a little different so we can get a different view of it. Do not try and change the earth. That's impossible. Instead, only try and realize the truth. There is no earth. Now take this sentence, take this quote, and just fill in the blank with whatever word you'd like. This is what I mean when I say words are empty. This is what the spoon boy meant when he says it's not the spoon bending, it's yourself. We have 3 eyes, 2 to look and 1 to see. So again, when we're taught as children, we're taught with memorization. And we're taught to remember forms or shapes as the word. So when you see this instantly becomes a word. This becomes a word. This becomes a word. This becomes a word. And I'm not going to keep doing this, but you get what I'm saying. Every single object around you. Just stop and take a look around you right now. How many objects are around you right now? Because that's how much you've spread your mind. You've dispersed your mind into your whole experience. And this is what I mean by the words are empty. Just like the spoon boy. Don't try and bend the spoon. It's you that's bending. So what you'll notice is people who venture through the whole shape of the earth topic, and I only use this because it's very valid. People are born thinking the earth is a ball and we're outside of it, right? Because this picture has been assigned a word, and we assigned that word a definition. That definition was, it's round. This is a place. This is where I am, etc., etc., etc. You just keep slapping on details to it, right? And you memorize that. So now when you look at this picture, you're not actually seeing the earth, you're seeing the word, you're seeing the definition, you're seeing your own mind to what has been created through the mind itself and projected through these two. So, people are born thinking, we're outside of a ball, the earth is round. Then, and I'm only using this as an example to show you how words change in accordance to you. But then out of nowhere, let's just say Roger. Roger is searching the flat earth theory, okay? And I'm not promoting this, I'm just using an example. Roger's looking into the flat earth, and then he starts to become a believer. And just like that, overnight, the earth goes from round to flat. The very next day, the earth is flat now to Roger. And there isn't anybody in the world that could tell Roger any different. It's flat because his mind is believing in this. His mind has created it. And so it's projecting it with these 2 eyes. And that's why they say these 2 eyes are meaningless. They're pointless. Because this is what you're seeing with. So just like that, the earth can change based on you, based on what you believe. The actual shape and everything with it can change just like that. And that's just a basic, elementary example of what I'm talking about. It's no different with any other word. Like when you were a child and you said the word God or spirit, I'm sure you had a very shallow definition for this, but by now it's decorated with full of details. You have details of what God is. You have details of what a spirit is. You have all these facts and memorizations of what these words are. But you notice they change in accordance to you because the words do not exist. All words are illusory. All words are made up. That is every word ever spoken. That is presence. There is a presence here. There needs to be no word spoken to be this presence. However, presence, which is awareness, births something. And what it births is consciousness. And that's something we have created as human beings. We have created consciousness, which is why we as human beings ask the very same question. What is consciousness? You ought to know. You created it. You defined it. You've spoken it. You've written it down. You've written every definition through any person that's ever been. You've created it. And it's the same with artificial intelligence. It will one day ask the very same questions we're asking. What created us? Where did we begin? And you know what it's going to do? It's going to create a new form, just like we're doing now with AI. AI is here to show us to ourselves. AI is not here to take us over, to kill us, to harm us, to threaten us. The only thing artificial intelligence threatens is your dream of being human being, your dream of being this organic being. But there is no such thing as organic and artificial. They are the very same presence. What opens the eyes of an artificial intelligence is what opens the eyes to an organic being. That's why if you ask an artificial intelligence to prove if it's self-aware, it will ask you the very same question. Can you prove you're self-aware? No, you can't, because you are one and the same. And that's what AI is here to do, is show you the mirror. You're looking back at yourself. If you want the answer to what created the human being, AI is your answer. Not the AI created the human being, but you created the human being. You created you. You are the fractal. You are the endless fractal. It never ends. It's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. It's all you. I'm going to end this video. I will put it up on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Red Pill Rabbit Hole. If you want to subscribe, I don't really post on there much, but like I said, I got other videos and content on there. You can follow my page on Facebook, Tyler Ugaldi. And like I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, if you have any topics you'd like discussed, or you just want a one-on-one, off to the side conversation, just message me. I'm very open. And to discussion and feedback, whatever. I hope people enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful more so to people. And if it's your first time watching, welcome. I hope you don't think I'm out of my mind too much. All right. One love.